Good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming. My name is Tom Hacker. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Loveland. I will have virtually nothing to say here other than that. Our Chief, Robert Tyser, will describe personnel changes at the department. He has a short statement, and we will have a few questions after that. I do want you to know that the chief is going to try to make a commitment to be elsewhere very shortly after this, but will remain for a few questions. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chief Robert Tyser, Loveland Police Department.
Thank you, Tom. Robert Tyser, R-O-B-E-R-T, Tyser, T-I-C-E-R, Chief of Police, City of Loveland. Thank you today for coming here to our police department, have this critical conversation and provide information to our community and to the citizens that have expressed their concerns, their outrage, their anger in relation to the Mrs. Garner case that is actively a federal lawsuit. Today, I am announcing that former officers Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali, along with former Community Service Officer Tyler Blackett, are no longer employed with the Loveland Police Department. All three of these employees were involved in the arrest booking with Mrs. Garner. Currently, the status of this investigation is really two parts. On April 14th this year, we were notified of serious bodily injury allegations with Mrs. Garner. I contacted the District Attorney's Office and mutually agreed, along with our partner agencies in Larimer County and the Fort Collins Police Services, to invoke the CERT protocols. That is a investigation that is done in injury cases such as this that involves law enforcement. That case is ongoing, therefore I'm not able to speak a whole lot about that case because that's in the hands of the District Attorney's Office with this investigation, which will go into any matters related to any criminal activity or alleged criminal activity in this case. Following that, there'll be an internal affairs investigation, and that will be handled by the city's human resources director in consultation with a third-party investigator to handle that investigation. We believe that's the right thing to do in this case, is to have an outside investigator take a look at this case and examine every issue related to policy, procedure, and learn from that and answer many questions that I know that are out there today. I know there's a lot of questions on this case, and we wish that we could give you the answer to those questions, but we'll have to wait for the outcome of those investigations and honor that system. I will make a statement right now. It's very important regarding this case. We have had outpourings of concerns from people in our community, in our state, in the United States, and international about their concerns and anger relating to this arrest of Ms. Garner. Our goal at the Loveland Police Department has always been to make our community proud. We failed, and we are very sorry for that. Thank you.
Chief,
yes, sir.
Is it your position that you did not find out about this case until 2 weeks ago when the lawsuit was filed?
The case obviously was a case with Loveland PD, so there were individuals here in this organization that knew about the case, obviously. But the specifics to the serious bodily injury, that was the first time I was notified of that and took action with the district attorney at that point.
What is the policy? What is the department's policy when it comes to notification of injuries of arrested people?
It depends on the injury. If there's serious bodily injury, it would be responsibility to have that conversation with the district attorney and the CERT investigators. Thank you.
So how far up the chain did it go initially?
You're asking questions that will be asked in the internal affairs investigation handled by the human resources director. Those are the type of questions that should be asked, will be asked, and those answers will be forthcoming.
Chief, a question for you. There was accusations that this injury happened and then the medical records come forward. Was it the responsibility of the other officers who were notified that there may have been injuries to also report that up the chain of command?
Our policy at the Loveland Police Department is if there is injury, notifications need to occur, and people need to be treated for injuries if that is the case.
And a quick follow-up for you, can you just explain your reaction, not just as chief, but as a person, when you saw the video that allegedly shows your former officers joking about the incident that took place?
That is not the Loveland Police Department. That is not the Loveland Police Department. The Loveland Police Department is comprised of men and women that are out there taking calls for service right now, that are working very hard and honoring our community and serving with integrity and value and being trustworthy. That's who the Loveland Police Department is. What you saw in the video is not the Loveland Police Department.
What about your reaction to the initial body cam video of the arrest?
As the chief of police, my job here is to ensure that this process goes forward. But if you're asking me as a human being what I thought, I share the community's concerns on this. It hurt to see that. I've been in law enforcement 32 years, and what I saw in there hurt me personally.
Do you know any of the officers involved personally?
I know every officer in this department personally.
Can you share your thoughts about them?
I'll tell you.
Specifically Hop and Jalali?
I'll tell you, I'm not going to get into specifics of what I think or what my reactions are to people in this department, but I can tell you, I take it with a source of pride to know everybody, both personally and professionally, in this department. Everyone. That's my duty, and I do that every day to know.
Did they resign? Did they submit the resignation to you personally?
You're asking the questions reference personnel, and my statement to that is they no longer work here at the police department, but I will tell you I was involved in that process
Chief,
as the chief. I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
didn't mean to
I'm
cut you off. Go ahead.
Chief, the Garner family and their lawyer claims that they have not even received an apology of any sorts from the police department. Is there an apology that's due to them, and what would be your comments on that?
This is a federal lawsuit naming 5 employees here, 3 former employees, 2 others that are currently employed at this department. I am the city of Loveland. I know the Garner family wants action. They want information. The processes that we're going to go through with this criminal investigation and internal affairs and the lawsuit, they're going to get their answers. I'm confident in that, and there'll be time for those conversations to be had with the Garner family as we work through this.
Chief, a quick question too about training. Is what happened just an isolated incident? Would other officers have handled it the same way? And if so, how do you deal with that via training?
The question is a good question related to training. Police officers are people. They come in all forms. Men, women, particular ages, demographics, ethnicity. They handle situations as best as they can. Sometimes they make mistakes, sometimes they get it right. And that occurs every day in American law enforcement, every day here. The training that goes into today's police officer, today's deputy sheriff, today's state trooper is so extensive and so much detail. Officers are constantly training, we are constantly training in how to de-escalate, how to use our knowledge of interactions with people, how to handle people in crisis. And that training has occurred, it will occur, it'll continue to occur, and it has to be ongoing because there are so many dynamics of what a police officer deals with when they're out there in the community. And I look back to when I was 22 years old and I became a police officer. Think about when you were 22 years old. Me personally, I didn't know a whole lot. But as I started becoming more mature, started learning, I found out a lot more through training and experience on how to interact with the public, how to serve. We have officers that are brand new and officers here pushing 40 years. We understand training is important, and that'll continue to be a focus at the department.
Chief Tyser, what about Sergeant Metzler and Sergeant Hill, who were both named in the lawsuit? And I know that Sergeant Metzler was at least recently announced that he was on administrative leave as well.
Master Sergeant Phil Metzler is on administrative leave, and Sergeant Hill is currently still assigned to her duties here at the police department.
During the arrest process or the booking process of Ms. Garner, did the police department know about her disability, or when did you guys learn about that?
Those questions that you're asking related to the status of Ms. Garner will be questions that will be asked in the parallel investigations.
The third person who was on, not Hopper Jalali, what was their role and where were they in this process, in this incident?
Mr. Tyler Blackett is a community service officer, was a community service officer. The role of that position in the organization is not a sworn police officer. It is a support role to support the department through minor traffic crash investigations, through parking enforcement, and through transportation of custodies to the Letterman County Sheriff's Office.
So was he at the scene, the initial scene?
No, he was not.
He was involved in the booking?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman who pulled over and raised his concerns in the original body camera footage, have you guys been able to contact that individual, and was a complaint ever officially filed through him away from just that incident?
The other person in the video you're talking about will be involved in the investigation with CERT, the CERT team, and the outside investigators to ask those questions.
And one quick question for you. Can you tell us any details you have on Officer Jalali and Officer Hopp, their age and how long they have been with the department?
I do not have the age handy with me. We can get that through Mr. Hacker. Officer Hopp had been on the department approximately 1 year. Ms. Jalali had been on the department approximately 3 years. Master Sergeant Phil Messer been on approximately 27 years.
Before these investigations, were you moving to terminate them?
The question is, they are no longer employed here at the department. That's a personnel issue which can be worked through the human resources. Yes, Jen?
Did the officers have jobs as police officers elsewhere before they were here?
The two former officers, Officer Jalali and former Officer Hopp, were employed as police officers elsewhere prior to serving here at the City of Loveland.
I just want to break in. I know the chief has got to be elsewhere very quickly, and you've got more questions. And I would appreciate it if you could forward those questions to me. We're going to be answering them all along the course of this event, of this situation. So please get back with me. You all have my contact, and I'll be more than happy to address further questions, but I know the chief has got you here for now. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the
I will
questions.
have a written press release for you in just a few minutes if you want to hang around. I'll just have it very quickly.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Thanks.
Appreciate you.